Every day it seems like we're getting closer to one of our world leaders pulling out that little black box and hitting that little red button, sending nukes flying into the sky. And as we move closer and closer to mutually ensured destruction, you would think that our leaders would be doing whatever they can to ensure that we don't get to that point. You would think that our leaders are doing whatever they can to make sure that we aren't going into a nuclear war that would not only destroy us, but destroy the rest of the world as well. However, that's not the case. In fact, it seems as if it is just the exact opposite. Our leaders are sending us into a head-on collision with nuclear warfare. They are sending us down a path to destruction, where the only outcome is destruction. The only outcome is a major loss of life. The only outcome is catastrophe. Our leaders are moving us down that path at an alarming rate. It looks as if they want war. Now, don't get me wrong. They will come on your TV screens and tell you they want peace. They'll come on your TV screens and on your computer screens and on your phone screens, and they'll tell you they're doing what they can to ensure that everything is peaceful and that they want peace treaties and they want this and they want that. But the reality is, if you watch their moves that are behind the scenes and some of their moves that are right out there in the open, then you know that peace is not what our leaders are looking for. Our leaders are looking for war for one reason or another. And they are leading us down this collision course of destruction. Now, as we have a new war popping off in the Middle East, as we position our warships as other countries threaten to attack us, now the Biden administration has announced that they're working on a new nuclear bomb. So in the middle of all of this going on, when they should be, I don't know, maybe toning things down a little bit, maybe trying to, put out the fire. No, instead we're adding fuel to the fire. Instead, we're using the tactics that we've seen used against us for years. Now, some people will say it's a tit for a tat. I will say we're better than this. But not only has the Biden administration, they've announced that they're working on this new super nuclear bomb. They're also putting out depictions of what would happen if this nuclear bomb were to strike Moscow. Now, throughout the years, I've seen North Korea make threats, and they put together their little videos showing America getting destroyed by their missiles. You see these various terrorist outlets in the Middle East, they put together their little videos showing the destruction of America, and you kind of laugh it off, whatever. Well, now America is stooping to that level, putting out propaganda and these little videos of what would happen to Russia if we were to send a nuclear missile their way, one of these new super nukes. But when I'm looking at this, I'm like, what? I thought we wanted peace. I thought we were trying to move towards peace. But now, not only have you announced the development of a new nuclear bomb, you're showing demonstrations of this bomb blowing up Moscow. How do you think Russia and Putin are going to respond to this? Do you think that this moves us farther away from war with Russia or closer to war with Russia? Let me know what you think down in the comments below, but let's go ahead and dive into this article. Maps have been released depicting the destruction that could be unleashed should a new type of nuclear bomb being developed by the Biden administration be dropped on Moscow. The Pentagon announced this week that it is developing a new nuclear gravity bomb that is 24 times more powerful than any nuke detonated in Hiroshima. The B-61-13 is the 13th variant of the B-61 family of gravity bombs, which fall to their target rather than be guided. Gravity bombs are unguided, but this new one will have a tail kit helping with targeting and ensuring greater accuracy. A simulation using NukeMap estimates that a B-61-13 bomb with a 360 kiloton yield exploding over Moscow would result in hundreds of thousands of casualties, almost 1 million injured, and extensive damage to the city stretching for miles around. Although the exact explosive power of the B-61-13 has not been revealed, the new bomb will likely have the same explosive yield as its predecessor, the Cold War era B-61-7, estimated to be 360,000 tons, giving off a blast radius of roughly 35 miles. If dropped over Moscow, the B-61-13 would likely cause significant devastation, with an estimated 300,000 people dead and almost 1 million injured. Anything within a half-mile radius of the bomb's detonation site would be vaporized by a fireball. The blast would demolish buildings and likely kill everyone else within a mile. Those within a 2-mile radius of the detonation site would also suffer from high levels of radiation that would likely kill them within a month. A further 15% of survivors would die from cancer later in their lives. Those in buildings would likely fare no better, with fires igniting and buildings collapsing and universal injuries. The detonation would create a massive fireball with more than a 4-mile radius, generating winds of hurricane force above 220 degrees Fahrenheit. Experts believe the fire would also burn for over 6 hours, creating a lethal environment over more than 65 square miles, an area about 10 to 15 times larger than that incinerated in Hiroshima. First and foremost, the new bomb is intended to act as a deterrent while providing additional options against specific military targets. So, in the middle of all of this madness, when you're hoping that we're trying to sit at the table and talk and, prevent a massive conflict, when you're hoping that those would be the moves that are being made, instead, the current administration is like, hey, we got a new super nuke. And guess what? This is what will happen to you if we drop it on your city. Now, some people might like that talk. America, yeah. But in a time like this, I think that cooler, calmer heads would prevail. The problem is there's no cooler, calmer heads around us. And even the cooler, calmer heads that are around us, they're in this for personal gain. They don't care if 500,000 young women and young men die in another war. They don't care if we lose thousands of soldiers, as long as they make millions of dollars. So I think these are very scary times. And I can view this from multiple angles. For one, you could say this is not the time to be out here blasting that you got new nukes when we should be trying to defuse all of these conflicts that are raging out in the world. But at the same time, maybe you can view this as, oh, this is us trying to warn our enemies, hey, maybe you should back down. Maybe you should try to defuse the situation, or one of these bombs are going to drop on your city. The problem is, though, it's not like, oh, Russia, if you don't get your act straight, we're going to drop this bomb on you. If that were to happen, there would be a retaliation. It doesn't matter which side presses the button first. I believe that if a nuke gets shot off, other countries are going to shoot things off, and before you know it, the whole world would basically be destroyed. You know what I mean? If the U.S. knows that we got nukes headed our way, we're going to send nukes right back. Same thing goes with Russia, China, or whoever has nukes. So that's what's really been stopping, certain conflicts from happening. The not knowing that there would be mutually insured destruction. Hell, yeah, you got the weapons that could wipe America out, but we got the weapons that can wipe Russia out. Yeah, you got the weapons that could wipe this place out, and we can do the same. So that's really deterred a lot of bigger conflicts from happening. And I guess they're trying to say that dropping this news now is a deterrence. We're trying to deter our enemies from making any further moves, in Europe with the Ukraine situation, or making any further moves, with what's going on in the Middle East and Israel, and making any moves with what's going on with China, Taiwan, the Philippines, and you name it. So you can definitely approach this from multiple angles and view it in different ways. But the way I view it, with how sensitive everything is right now, I don't know how to feel about it. I understand announcing new weapons and things like that, but as far as showing depictions of what would happen if we drop this nuke on Moscow, that's a level that I usually, at least I don't recall seeing America stoop to that level. Usually we're not showing, videos of what would happen if we dropped a bomb on a certain city in various places throughout the world. Usually that's something that we see other regimes do, right? We see that happen in North Korea. We've seen it happen in Russia. We've seen it happen in these other places. That's usually not a tactic that America uses. But seeing America do this now, it kind of lets you know the state of the world that we're in right now. And that's scary. But let me know your thoughts about all of this down in the comments below. If you're feeling generous, you can support the channel by dropping a super thanks, or you can support the channel for totally free by sharing this video, hitting that like button, subscribing, ringing that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next video.